Hey guys, this is Coach Jeff Vaage, and I'm really excited to share the first two secrets of many that I'm going to be taking as I apply a lot of what I'm learning in some of the books that I've got from Russell Brunson. And the first one is .com Secrets. And what's interesting is this is one of his first books, and I've moved on to some of his other books and been studying those. But what I did was the other day, almost by accident, I went back, grabbed this book, thinking it was one of the other more recent books, and I actually started from the very beginning. And I read one of his comments. He said, before you move on to starting to build and develop funnels, one of the things that you want to do before you even start moving forward is to read the very beginning of the book. And what I discovered was that I had read these items before, and I know it's like you guys have probably had this happen before, where you've read or seen something, you obtain the information, you retain part of it, it makes sense, it's a good concept, and you move on, but you really don't take it to the level that you really apply it. And so as I read it, I'm thinking to myself, a lot of what I've been doing, I've probably been making the mistake of getting ahead of myself, which we've all done that before, right? On any project, on anything that we've done, sometimes we want to jump towards the middle or the end. Just like in a good book, we sometimes some people like to race to the end first, rather than really understanding the base and the foundation of everything that you do. So I'm going to dive into the first two secrets, and I'm going to reveal to you the first ones. And I took this fun teaser picture that I made on my whiteboard, and we're going to be covering secret number one, which is the 4 questions of who, where, the Bate, which is the free value, and the results, and I'm going to break that down here in just a little bit. And then we're going to talk about the value ladder, which is going to be one of the most important things that you ever hear, and you can apply it to just about anything. And once you learn this, you're going to start to, as you go through your day, I guarantee you're going to do this, you're going to walk into grocery stores, you're going to walk into coffee shops, drugstores, restaurants, doctor's offices. You're going to see things online, businesses offline, and you're going to say to yourself, why aren't they doing this? Because so many businesses don't even know what the value ladder is, let alone even use it. Now, by accident, they may be using certain segments of it and parts of it, but they don't really quite understand the full purpose of it. And you have to know exactly what the end game is with the value ladder before you even start to make the steps. So let's dive in. First of all, let's start with the secret number one, and this is the secret formula. So let me dive in here on secret number one, because these are basically 4 questions, and these are questions that every consultant should be able to ask a doctor or wellness provider. Now, I'm being very specific in terms of us as consultants with Regenerate, but keep in mind, if you have another career, if you're a realtor or if you own a business of any other kind, you can apply these questions, and instead of saying that the questions that every consultant should ask you of a doctor or wellness provider, just fill in the blank. Customer, you can fill in client, and so basically anything that you want to apply there based on the circumstance that you're working with. Does that make sense? So let's go ahead and move on to question one. So who is your dream? And in this case, we're talking about clients, patients, for the doctor. But again, you can fill in the blank, customers, associates, and here's the bonus tip. When you go through this process of saying who is your dream client, or for a doctor, they'd say who is your dream patient, or for a consultant, who is your dream doctor. You see what I'm doing? You have to determine who it is that you're going to be working with. So what I would do is, if I was consulting with a doctor, I would go through these questions with him, and I would say, doctor, who is your dream patient? And trust me, doctors have dream patients. They have dream clients that are the perfect patients. They show up on time. They make consistent appointments. They're proactive with their health and wellness. They listen and do what the doctor says. They're not the kind of the nightmare patient. Think about it as if you own a business, you have customers. Ideal, your perfect customer, the customer that you love, maybe somebody you work with, if you're thinking about who's your dream associate, who's your dream client. But again, I want to keep this focused on 2 things. Number one, the broad ideas and concepts that I'm sharing that you can apply to anything, and then specifically taking these concepts and applying, how can we apply those as consultants inside of Regenerate, where we're actually helping that doctor think through these questions. So let's go with it. And then again, one of the bonus tips that I want to share with you is you need to be able to do this both from a male and a female standpoint. Now, question 2 is where. Where is the next part? Where can you find them? And again, we know that if we're looking specifically, if we're talking about healthcare professionals, obviously offline, we know we can just run a Google, check the local area for where doctors are in terms of offline. I mean, that's pretty easy to do. Online, find out where they hang out. And again, this is, you got to just start thinking of this different social media sites. You got Facebook, you got LinkedIn, Instagram, and so on and so forth. And so where can you find them and where they hang out? Now, we're going to get into more of that later, but here's the bonus tip. If you don't know the who, it will be really, really hard to find out where your dream client or doctor can be found. So think about that a little bit. You got to realize that what we're doing is that part of this training is to really get thinking from an online perspective, but then again, it applies offline as well in brick and mortar type situations. So question 3, what is the bait? And again, when you hear the word bait, it means something that is very appealing. It's a free gift. It's something that will attract somebody, okay? And it has to be something that they will pay attention to, number one, and that they really want, okay? If it's online, that's very common. You're offered something, a PDF, you're offered a digital tool, a free book, something like that, where it's a lead magnet, and you have to share your email address, and say, because that's the trade. The free gift is the opt-in for the email. However, if you're dealing with in more of a brick and mortar type situation, you can still apply the same thing. You can offer something free, something that your ideal who is going to want. So if it's a doctor and he's thinking about what he can offer to the patient, there's all kinds of things, and we'll get into that here in just a little bit. And the bonus tip is this: the bait has to match what your dream doctor wants. So if we're looking at attracting doctors, we have to come up with something that is the initial bait, that is something that is going to be the free thing that you can offer to a doctor, that is going to, again, at the very top, something that they will pay attention to and that they absolutely want. So then question 4, what results do you want to give them? This is so critical, and I need you to kind of read through this a couple times, but what result do you want to give them? Okay, what can you provide for them? What result? This is not, hear me again, folks, this is not about the products and the services you want to sell them. You have to first start with the result you want to give them. There's a process of getting to that, okay? So now let's quickly review. Here's the 4 questions again. Who are your dream doctors or clients? Where can you find them? What bait will you use to attract them? What freebie? And what result do you want to give them? What do you want to help them with? And it has to be an understanding between both parties. So now, with that as the groundwork, that's the foundation. Now let's dive in. This is where it gets really fun. Okay, so let's take a look at secret number 2, the value ladder. And I'm going to go through a variety of examples here, but I just want you to get an idea that the value ladder applies to anything. So we're talking about doctors, different types of doctors, dentists, tennis pro, which is my background, and so I'm going to share a little bit of a story here in terms of the lesson that I learned, that if I could turn back the clock and go back to being a tennis pro at a club again, I would do things completely different based on this value ladder. And then that's the epiphany, and it hit me like a ton of bricks, that if learning a little bit more and understanding this secret right here could change how I would completely do this, well, guess what? It's going to change completely how I do what I do in terms of building funnels and digital marketing and working as a consultant. And it completely can change everything for you. So if you are, and again, I threw in some other things because I want to get you, broaden your thinking a little bit. It doesn't matter what the business is, or the profession. It could be brick and mortar, it could be online, but it could be an auto dealer with a service department. It could be a realtor or any other service people that work in the service industry. Again, any doctor, not just. I've got some examples here with dentists and chiropractors. Because again, I kind of want to focus this primarily on our doctors, and that's going to be some of the examples that I'm going to share, and other consultants. So let's get into, first of all, the basics of a value ladder in terms of what it would look like for a dentist. Now, let's run through this real quick. The bottom represents price, okay? The price or the cost of each thing is going to go up. and as the value goes up. Okay, that makes sense? As the value goes up, you pay more. Now, this is actually a very successful value ladder for a dentist that a lot of them probably don't even utilize. And again, you're saying, well, they all provide these things, but here's a good example. Russell shared a great story of when he was just getting out of college and was able to have enough money to get a dental program, and there was a dentist that was offering a free teeth cleaning, and he thought, oh, that's awesome. And so for a dentist, you want this initial freebie. Okay, this is the beginning of the value ladder. And let me click back here, because back here, this is where you want to make a free offer at the very beginning. So the value, there's still value, but it's a lower value, and it's not very costly. So it's either low cost or no cost to the person providing it. So a teeth cleaning, it's not very expensive to provide for the dentist, so they can get away maybe with offering a free teeth cleaning. Most doctors don't think about this. The story behind this is Russell went in strictly for a free teeth cleaning. Well, what happens? As he's getting his teeth cleaned, the dentist said to Russell, he said, do you smoke? And he said, no, I don't. Of course I don't smoke. And he said, well, I noticed your teeth are a little yellow. And he said, what do you mean my teeth are yellow? And he says, well, do you drink coffee? He says, no, I don't drink coffee. And so he said, what, and all of a sudden the doctor was bringing to his attention that maybe, over time his teeth had yellowed a little bit. And so he's getting a teeth cleaning for free, right? That's the free gift. That's the, that we talked about, that lead magnet or the bait. Now that he's in the office, he's giving him value, giving him advice that, he's highlighting the fact that he has yellow teeth and he could offer a teeth whitening. Well, he goes and says, yeah, absolutely, I want to get that. So they get the trays going and they do all that. That's, a couple $3,000. So now they move up the value ladder. The patient is getting more value, and the doctor has moved from giving away a free teeth cleaning to now he's got some business in terms of teeth whitening. Well, then as they're doing that, he notices, a couple of your teeth, he says, did you have braces growing up? Well, yeah, I did. Why? He says, well, sometimes as you get older, sometimes the teeth will kind of move back together. And he says, a retainer would take care of that. So now he then moves him up the value ladder and he offers a retainer. And so now he's increasing the price of what he's offering, and he's able to then bring exceptional value to the patient, because the patient wants their teeth clean, they want them white, and they want them straight, right? So now you can even move up, and from there, a lot of times it moves into, well, if they like the retainer, and they like each piece. That's the thing. Each piece of this ladder, you guys, has to be something that they like, and so they want more. Yeah, now my teeth are white. Now I want them to be straight, and they're straight. Now I want them to be perfect, so I want cosmetic surgery. And so, the ultimate. Now here's the really super cool part of this whole thing, is that you're moving him. This is called ascending. So we're ascending them from, a pretty easy process of coming in, maybe something free, maybe super low cost, and then we build know, like, and trust as we go along here. Okay, so this is the case of a dentist. Now, and again, this is huge. I can't tell you enough, and I didn't write in recurrent here, but we're going to talk about recurrent, or the passive income. That's anything where there is something that is a recurrent payment, or an appointment, or a membership, or something that happens each and every month. Take a look at your cable bill. All right, that's a recurrent. Every month you're paying that, right? So in a dentist's office, usually it's somewhere in the neighborhood of about six months. For some people, it's a year, but that's recurrent. But it's only once every 6 months. Okay, so that and if you have a person that's not coming very often, that doesn't give that doctor much in terms of getting more business and increasing prices. They want to try to get more value. So now, if that makes sense, let's jump over here. And one of the great examples that I love, because I love working with chiropractors, and I see, and they all have kind of different programs, but the base program that most of them offer is the adjustment, right? So you come in, most of them have nothing in terms of a free offer, so there's nothing here, and then the cost in the ladder, you have the increasing price. So an adjustment somewhere around $50, $40-50, right, per adjustment. So it's kind of a mid-range. It's mid-range on the value ladder. Does that make sense? And so this is instead of a low cost, medium cost, high cost. That's kind of how it works. And so they really don't have a free, they don't have a low. All they have is usually just an adjustment. And again, there's other chiropractors that do things. Maybe they have some other things that they do have on their ladder, but maybe they really don't even understand the value ladder. They just think that they should just have some things to sell. But they really can't put this all together. They really don't understand exactly what's going on here. Now, if a chiropractor, and a lot of them, you go in, you've wrenched your back, or maybe, and a lot of people just react to the pain, and they'll go in, get the adjustment. Maybe there might be some recurrent adjustments. Some try to get onto a wellness program or whatever, where they're going, for a couple times a week for a few weeks until the situation is resolved, and then that recurrent ends, because it's a short term. Does that make sense? A short term versus a long term and ongoing recurrent. So with chiropractors, they really might see patients, and again, some just go in basically when they feel like it. Other chiropractors try to get their patients on a regular schedule. So if that makes sense, basically the adjustment is the only thing they have to offer. Okay, but do chiropractors, with all the training and knowledge that they have much more to offer and share? Yes, they do. I know, again, Russell Brunson spent some time with a very good friend of his who is a chiropractor, and basically he took him through this consult. And his particular friend, this is all he did. He just did adjustments, and he had very seldomly did he have his clients go through and stay on an ongoing and long-term recurrent situation. So what he said was, what could you provide? And so he had him brainstorm a little bit. He says, well, I've got all kinds of background in nutrition and wellness, and I can help all kinds of different things. And he says, well, why aren't you offering that? And so a lot of times it's just when you're dealing especially with somebody who has a business or has a practice, that they just have never really been taught this. And so they don't know that, if you think about it, what could a chiropractor offer? Well, his friend said, you know what, I could bring in a masseuse, and we could offer a free massage. And then when they were getting the massage therapist would, as they're doing the massage, they would notice that maybe there was, something a little bit out of joint or out of kilter in terms of the skeletal system. And so they could encourage them to come back for an adjustment. And then you could move up the value ladder. And so from that point on, then he said, what else could you do? And he says, well, I could put together a wellness program. So at the top of his value ladder was a complete, $5,000 wellness program that he'd put together. And so that was the additions that he made, and it just made a huge difference in his practice. And so we, as consultants, have the opportunity to fill in these steps for all kinds of health providers and doctors. So I'm going to show you a little bit more specifically of what it looks like here. If you're going to work with a chiropractor, think of all the things that we already have in place, and things that we can create. And you can brainstorm this, but there's so many different things that you can offer, or that the chiropractor can offer, that you can consult a chiropractor as to what they can offer for free. PDFs, brochures, digital cards, free, a free analyze service. And again, in all kinds of different things that whether they come from what the chiropractor can offer, maybe like I said, the free massage or whatever. But what our program does is we have a lot of these things, and this is what I'm going to be putting into place is trying to create sort of a free value pack that we can offer our doctors, our chiropractors, our doctors, and other health and wellness providers, where this first step of the value ladder is accomplished for them, and we're providing that, and we're giving them the consult and explaining how this works. Now they're going to be excited that they've got something here on the first step of the value ladder. And then we talk about what's the next step. Well, for us, it's the analyze, right? Well, what a great idea to say, what about if they do the analyze, they'll actually assist and do the service that goes along with the analyze, the extraction of the hair and preparing all of the hair sample and getting that sent away. That service could be provided for free. They got to pay for the analyze kit, but they could provide the service and not charge for the actual service. I mean, so you see how, but you're making a sale here and they're making $75. So it's a $200 sale. So we're moving up, the price is moving up of the first item that we're offering, but the value is going up as well. So we're still trying to build value into each step and maximize that value at every step. So now, what's in the mid-range? Well, again, for a chiropractor, it would be the adjustment, the $50 adjustment. And then for the Optimate, I put Optimate, and you see it twice. What, Jeff, why is it there twice? Well, when they first get started, the first analyze is on the first step. That analyze leads to what? A consultation, which then they see that they have issues. They see that they have deficiencies, and that, and we have actually an information piece that shows the negative things that happen to the human body when you're deficient in certain nutrients. And so they're going to want to get on the Optimate, and not only for the first month, so that would be here, but then it has the potential to get on the monthly program. So again, it has a one-time purchase, but it has, as you all know, it has a monthly recurrent program. Now, what about the person that from there they say, it's just like the person who had yellow teeth, and the doctor says, you know what, I can take care of those yellow teeth. I can help to whiten them, and it's $2,000-$3,000, and they move them up the value ladder. Well, guess what? Somebody wants to, have a regenerative, go through the regenerative fast because they want to lose weight. They want to feel better. They want to, regenerate, get some stem cell regeneration. And so now they can go ahead and give this a first-time try. So they're moving up the value ladder, getting through all of the different pieces of Regenerate. And now that they've gone through this, now they've been exposed to the Fast Start. So maybe they want to add the Fast Start beverage. And again, the Optimate, the Fast Start, and again, even the Regenerative Fast is a potentially you can do this every month. The Optimate for sure is every month. Fast Start, I wouldn't want to go without it. And the Fast, some people do this once every 6 months, once every 3 months. Some people do it monthly. The cool thing is that all of these have the potential to be up to a monthly recurrent. Okay, the Analyze recommended is 90 days. So there's even though the Analyze is on the first step here, it also has the potential to be a recurrent every 90 days. So do you start to get the idea? This is the passive income. This is the recurrent purchases that are being done, even when they are not even seeing the patient or the client. Especially for a medical doctor, where they may not see their patients as often as a chiropractor, or a lot of chiropractors, maybe their patient comes in or their client comes in once every 6 months, and then they don't see them for a while until they throw their back out again. This gives them a chance to bring value to that client or patient, right? They're happy, they're getting value, they're getting all the benefits of the program, but they may not even be coming into the doctor's office for what they really offer. But because this program is available, they're able to bring value to the patient and bring revenue into their practice, okay? And so the ultimate goal, you always start at the top. We would want, ultimately, the goal is that the patient would be on the complete program, the complete regenerative lifestyle plan, okay? And so when they're on this program and they're fully adopting everything that we offer and potentially anything that new would come along, that is when you are providing the result. Again, I'm going to go back to what we're going for. What result do you want to give them? Okay, is this starting to make sense? You guys getting this? Where the foundation is being applied to the value ladder, right? And then this piece here, all of this, I take this in the next step, and you guys don't have to worry about this. I will be building this into the digital marketing and into the funnel that will allow, and again, this can be done person to person as you guide and consult different doctors and different wellness professionals through this process, but it can also be done digitally. So let's talk about a medical doctor. Value ladder for a medical doctor before a Regenerate consult. Now, what can a medical doctor offer? Well, usually it's medical care. Usually it's an urgent care situation, right? Somebody, when you're in pain and you got a problem, there's nobody you want to see more than your doctor. And so, but then after your pain is eliminated and you're back on track, you get into your routine, really you're not spending a lot of time or money or getting value from that doctor. The value comes when you have a situation that you need. Now, what's recurrent? maybe an annual checkup. Maybe some people go once every 6 months, but generally for most it's probably about an annual checkup, some not even that. So they're not much of a recurrent situation in income for a medical doctor. So there are a lot of gaps in the value ladder for a medical doctor before a Regenerate consult. So what do you think we can do? How do you think? So instead of us, again, let's go back here. What result do you want to give them? This is not about offering the products and the services yet. Okay, we don't want to sell them on that. We want to focus on the result. So if we can get back here and show a medical doctor all the gaps that they have in their value ladder, okay, and the huge gap that they have in recurrent income, now we can start to talk about the Regenerate program. And then they're going to see that there is an option where they can start to provide value, free value for their patients as they come in. They can be these could be sent, but again, these are all things that we can provide to the patient through the doctor's office that are going to give tremendous value. Okay, these are the freebies, and then we can start to move in. And again, what the doctor offers, of course, medical care, and that's more circumstantial, right? Other than the regular checkups. And then, but now they can offer the analyze. So our stair step again, our value ladder starts with the analyze, which leads to the first Optimate, which then can lead to the monthly program, and then the regenerative fast. Again, you see this. So the ladder that we fill the gap for the ladder in the complete our regenerative lifestyle plan. So you can kind of see that it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter what kind of doctor it is. It doesn't matter if it's the dentist. It doesn't matter if it's the chiropractor. It doesn't matter if it's a medical doctor. Just fill in the blank. But the reason I went through this is because I wanted you to kind of see what, how we could help. Because again, most dentists don't do this. They don't offer the free cleaning, and they don't necessarily, they kind of just work off the seat of their pants a little bit. Sometimes they really don't think this through, but if they did, they probably could get a lot more business in terms of their practice. But then also they can do a lot better in terms of what we can do for them in terms of filling the gaps, additional gaps on the value ladder, which is the Regenerate value ladder that we're doing for the medical doctors. So hopefully this is starting to make sense. Again, this is conceptual, I want you to see, but it's practical too. These are practical steps, practical things that can be done, and these things can all be done and presented, in a consultation, face-to-face, in a brick-and-mortar practice. But I also want to design this so that we have the ability to take this value ladder, and I'm going to plug this value ladder into a funnel, and so that it can be done so that you can actually have coast-to-coast consulting. Okay, how awesome would that be if you can start consulting and working coast-to-coast because you have an online funnel that is taking this message and this information and this great tool to be able to help a doctor understand this before you even show them exactly how you fill in. So you really start, let me go back here. It really does start with the base ladder. I want to show you the before and after. Okay, so it really does start. If they see gaps in their value ladder, and they see that they have gaps in their recurrent, this is impacting their revenue. This is impacting their income. It's impacting their passive income, right? And those things do matter to a doctor, okay? But they also want to be able to give value and create impact for their patients. So boom, it's right here. So basically, do you see how I'm taking this concept and plugging in Regenerate? Now again, if you have a profession or a career, you can go ahead and use this same framework and plug it in. I was going to share with you briefly a little bit about as a tennis pro, one of the mistakes I made was the who. And let me give you an explanation. So we talked about the who. And I did give every week I gave a free 15-minute tennis tip. But you know who I gave it to? I gave it to the men on Thursday night before tennis. It's kind of a reward because most of the guys, and I'm not saying all of them, most of the guys were the ones that were out working throughout the day, and many of their wives work too, but a lot of them were at the club, and the kids were at the club. So we had a lot of ladies during the daytime, we had a lot of kids during the daytime, and the men would come out at night. And so I would give this free tip. Well, generally, most of the men didn't pay for tennis lessons. They just wanted to come out and play. And yet I was giving the tip. But then when I started to think about it, this value ladder, I should have been giving the free tips to the kids. I should have been given free fun clinics for the kids, and free clinics and tips to the ladies, because then once you do that, you can then, they get value, and they're like, oh my gosh, I got a tip on my forehand, but I need a little more time. So they maybe would get into a clinic, they'd get into a ladies group, or the kids would get into the clinics. And then from there, they'd maybe want a private lesson, because there's certain things that you highlighted during the clinic that you didn't have time to fix in a group setting. And maybe for a 30-minute lesson, they could come in. And then that 30-minute lesson turned into a package of a series of 6 I used to offer. And so that's a lot of times how it happens. It's just you offer value, you give one tip, you give one bit of advice. And so this value ladder is that advice. This is the consultation that you can offer to a doctor. And when that doctor gets this value ladder consultation, they understand the secret behind it, and they understand then that they're open to listen and take a look at how the Regenerate program fills the gaps. Does that make sense? This is the most amazing epiphany that I've ever had, and I can basically take any business now, and I can take and think through what can they offer. Again, another example would be a free oil change. If I owned a car dealership and I had a service department attached, I would offer free oil changes. You know why? Because while they're waiting for an oil change, guess what? They're right next to the showroom, and they can start looking around at a new car and thinking, well, maybe it's time for a new car. Maybe a salesperson can come up, and while that person's waiting, because I'm offering free oil changes. And again, if they have a great experience with the oil change, maybe when something else happens, they need larger mechanical work done on their car. So whether it's moving them up the ladder on repairs and in more service, and getting the know, like, and trust from the service department, they also then like the fact that I'm going to buy a new car here, because if I get a new car here, I love these guys because they take good care of me. Again, my brain has just been going crazy, because I can think of every single business that exists on planet Earth that needs a value ladder. And if we start to think that way in terms of Regenerate, can you imagine how fast your business is going to grow as a consultant? So anyway, I hope you guys got great value. And I'm going to go ahead and end the training now, but there are 3 more secrets that I follow up with this. But I wanted to get these first 2, because these are the 2 that really impact you, and you can start to apply these today. Okay, talk to you soon. This is Coach Jeff.